Hello guys, here is your host Greg Piatkowski. Welcome to my new video. I'm Greg Piatkowski from gregpiatkowski.com. Today I'm starting a new series of videos, a kind of a presentations or the audio recordings focusing on the books that impacted me mostly when it comes to the law of attraction. This is a very important series of teachings that impacted highly my life, my everyday experience when it comes to relationships with others, when it comes to the self-fulfillment and the emotional part of my life, and also when it comes to, and especially I would say, when it comes to my financial well-being. And on the screen you see the picture of a man that is thinking a lot, that is delving deep into his own thoughts. Why is this picture here? Because today we'll be starting with reading of the book Thoughts Are Things by Prentice Mulford. This is really important book for me. Actually, it was wrote in the 19th century, in 1889, which is quite amazing. This is a very old book, but it contains very fresh thoughts and ideas that you can implement right away nowadays. So this is really true. Thoughts are things. The way you think impacts most highly your everyday experience. The author of the book, the Prentice Mulford, was a California author. He was a speaker, he was a comedian, and he helped to found the so-called New Thought movement. So the movement of the writers and of the thinkers that were really sure that how we think creates our everyday experience. That by the power of our thoughts, we can change our life circumstances. His book, Thoughts Are Things, served as a guide to this new belief system. And as I told you, it was written in and published in 1889. So let's start with reading this book. I'm starting with chapter 1, the material mind and the spiritual mind. There belongs to every human being a higher self and a lower self, a self or mind of the spirit which has been growing for ages, and the self of the body, which is but a thing of yesterday. I hope you are sitting good in a good position that is pleasant for you. So just relax and listen to the words of the book. Listen to the words of the author of Prentice Mulford, and allow yourself to sink into those words, to let them go deep into your mind and change your way of thinking. The higher self is full of prompting ideas, suggestion, and aspiration. This it receives of the supreme power. All this the lower or animal self regards as wild and visionary. The higher self argues possibilities and power for us greater than man and woman now possess and enjoy. The lower self says we can only live and exist as man and woman have lived and existed before us. The higher self craves freedom from the cumbrousness, the limitations, the pains and disabilities of the body. The lower self says that we are born to them, born to ill, born to suffer, and must suffer as have so many before us. The higher self wants a standard for right and wrong of its own. The lower self says we must accept a standard made for us by others, by general and long-held opinion, belief, and prejudice. To thine own self be true is an oft-uttered adage. But to which self, the higher or lower? You have in a sense two minds. the mind of the body and the mind of the spirit. Spirit is a force and a mystery. All we know or may even know of it is that it exists and is ever working and producing all results in physical things, seen of physical sense, and many more not so seen. What is seen of any object, a tree, an animal, a stone, a man, is only a part of that tree, animal, stone, or man. There is a force which for a time binds such objects together in the form you see them. That force is always acting on them to greater or lesser degree. It builds up the flower to its fullest maturity. Its cessation to act on the flower or tree causes what we call decay. It is constantly changing the shape of all forms of what are called organized matter. An animal, a plant, a human being are not in physical shape this month or this year. What they will be next month or next year. This ever-acting, ever-varying force, which lies behind and in a sense creates all forms of matter, we call spirit. To see, reason, and judge of life and things in the knowledge of this force makes what is termed the spiritual mind. We have through knowledge the wonderful power of using or directing this force when we recognize it and know that it exists so as to bring us health, happiness, and eternal peace of mind. Composed as we are of this force, we are ever attracting more of it to us and making it a part of our being. With more of this force must come more and more knowledge. At first in our physical existences we allow it to work blindly. Then we are in the ignorance of that condition known as the material mind. But as mind through its growth or increase of this power becomes more and more awakened, it asks, why comes so much of pain, grief, and disappointment in the physical life? Why do we seem born to suffer and decay? That question is the first awakening cry of the spiritual mind and an earnest question or demand for knowledge must in time be answered. The material mind is a part of yourself which has been appropriated by the body and educated by the body. It is as if you taught a child that the wheels of a steamboat made the boat move, and said nothing of the steam which gives the real power. Bred in such ignorance, the child, should the wheels stop moving, would look no farther for the cause of their stoppage than to try to find where to repair them. Very much as now, so many depend entirely on repair of a physical body to ensure its healthy, vigorous movement, never dreaming that the imperfection lies in the real motive power, the mind. The mind of the body or material mind sees things and judges entirely from the material or physical standpoint. It sees in your own body all there is of you. The spiritual mind sees the body as an instrument for the mind or real self to use in dealing with material things. The material mind sees in the death of the body an end of all there is of you. The spiritual mind sees in the death of the body only the falling off from the spirit of a worn-out instrument. It knows that you exist as before, only invisible to the physical eye. The material mind sees your physical strength as coming entirely from your muscles and sinews and not from source without your body. It sees in such persuasive power as you may have with tongue or pen the only force you possess for dealing with people to accomplish results. The spiritual mind will know in time that your thought influences people for or against your interests, though their bodies are thousands of miles distant. The material mind does not regard its thought as an actual element, as real as air or water. The spiritual mind knows that every one of its thousand daily secret thoughts are real things acting on the minds of the persons they are sent to. The spiritual mind knows that matter or the material is only an expression of spirit or force, that such matter is ever changing in accordance with the spirit, that makes or externalizes itself in the form we call matter, and therefore, if the thought of health, strength, and recuperation is constantly held in the mind, such thought of health, strength, and rejuvenation will express itself in the body, making maturity never ceasing, vigor never ending, and the keenness of every physical sense ever increasing. So guys, this is the first part of the chapter 1. We'll focus on the second part of the first chapter in the next recording. And now I want to ask you, have you heard this message in the text? What is more important, spirit or matter? What you think or what you experience on a material level? What creates what? What impacts what? Listen once again to this part if you haven't grasped it immediately and reflect on that. Would you like to have access to motivational speakers giving you straight ahead their knowledge, their wisdom for free? Would you like to have access to the courses, to the speeches, to the recordings just for free? You can do this now because there is the new wonderful medium created. One of the most important speakers, hypnotizer, motivational speaker, Marshall Silver, has created the free radio that you can access right ahead. And you will be getting paid for listening to this free radio. Go to the address that you see on the screen, insaneoutcome.com/grr, and then you can get access to this only radio that pays you for listening. You get immediate access to a lot of motivational materials, motivational courses for free. And you will be getting the points that you will be able to exchange on the material money, on motivational and personal development products, and in case you are doing any business, also on advertising. So go there, insaneoutcome.com/grr, and give your name, your main email address, click subscribe, and you will get information how you can access this radio, listen to it on a daily basis, and get paid. So remember, thoughts are things. Never forget about it. And hear you in the next recording. All the best. All my love to you. It's Greg Piatkowski, and this is knowledge for you. Bye bye.